students. Today we are going to explain writing. You know that in the second semester examination you have story writing. It is out of 10 marks. You should have to be very careful and you should have to follow the instructions. Let's start. First, we know that any writing should start with the introduction. In the story writing, from the introduction, you should have to attract the reader to deal with you, to attract the reader to read your story. Means introduction should be interesting one and attractive one. How do you can set amazing introduction? First, create a location and setting of the story. How can I create location and the setting of the story? I should introduce my character. I should say who are my character. After that, I should introduce the setting. Where does the story take place? And when does the story take place? Don't forget to describe the weather around you. How the story is going on. This is very important point for you to write a good story. Now we go to the second step. Story details. Story details, the main body of the story. Main body of the story, you can divide it into 2 or 3 paragraphs. First one, what happened in the story? Narrate events in the story. You should have to create good actions and you should have to put them in order, in sequence. And the action of the story, you should have to write them in details. You should develop your character. Don't forget to create climax of the story. Okay, what about the suspense? The suspense of the story means you should have to create certain actions for the reader to attract them for share the story with you, read the story with you, motivate the reader to like your way of writing. Don't forget that about the character of the story. I should use some quotation of them and write them in direct speech. Okay? Now we will come to the end of the story. End of the story always give you the result of your work. First one, you should have to find a solution of the main problem in the story climax. The main problem in the story, you should have to find the solution of it. Okay? What about the feeling of the characters? After you solve the problem, what are the reactions of the characters in the story? Don't forget that to give a moral lesson of your story. What did you learn from the story? The positive experience. Okay? Why this one is very important? Because we should learn, we should get positive experience in our life. Okay? I told you before so many times, writing is so important, But we should also know that the first draft is more and more important for you, because the first one will guide you and help you to get out or get away of your mistakes. The first draft is always the worst one. You should have to remember that point. First one is always the worst one, and always room for improvement. Okay? Now, important tips of the story. You should have to remember them nicely. You should have to improve your story. How can I improve my story? I can improve my story if I will be careful about the following steps. First one, follow the structures which I told you before about how I can start with a good introduction, how can I move to the details, and how can I end my story. Okay? Don't forget that we are in narrating writing. We write a story, so we should use past tense. We should use past tense. Use more adjective and adverbs. As I explained before, I told adjectives and adverbs are so important to make the writing more attractive and interesting. Use action and sense verb. Don't forget to use time linking words. Okay? What about our characters? Don't forget to use the quotations for your characters. The quotation means I should use direct speech in this point. Now we will move to something is very important for you, the homework. This is the story. You should have to follow the procedures I have explained to you and write the story, okay? And be careful, please be active and do your work.